I am very concerned about the representation that Dodd-Frank is going to lead to fewer jobs. And I understand that many of those who are critics have been citing a study by the Business Roundtable that claims that the margin requirements in Dodd-Frank will result in 100,000 fewer jobs. First, just quickly, let me ask each of our witnesses today. First, Ms. Shapiro, have you seen this study?
That was released yesterday. Yes, I did have an opportunity to look at it. I've not studied it in detail.
Mr. Gensler, have you seen the study?
I read the survey, the Keybridge survey, last night around midnight on the web.
And Mr. Turillo, have you seen the study?
I did read it, yes, ma'am.
Can you tell us how effective regulation of the derivatives market can actually help to save jobs? Let me start with Mr. Gensler.
I think that at the core, we lost over 7 million jobs in this country because the financial system and regulatory system failed the test, and swaps were part of that. So I think it saves jobs by just making the whole system safer for America. Two, it helps end users have more transparency and lower cost competition in the marketplace. As long as we handle, I think, congressional intent on this margin and many of the other end user issues, which we want to work with you on, transparency promotes economic activity, transparency, and competition in markets.
Thank you. Ms. Shapiro, I agree with Mr. Gensler that failed regulation caused a loss of jobs. So how can better regulation cause a loss of jobs? Can you discuss a little bit how better regulation, effective regulation can help to save jobs?
Well, I think effective regulation can promote capital formation, which is in essence the creation of jobs. When companies feel that they can go to the market and raise capital, that their stocks will be priced fairly, that investors will have the opportunity to invest in their company, buy their shares of stock and sell those when they want to, it enables companies to raise the money necessary to create jobs. By the same token, when investors have confidence in the safety and the soundness of our financial institutions and the regulatory regime, they have a level of comfort in investing. So I think there are a number of studies that will show that good regulation, intelligent regulation, not over-regulation, not under-regulation, can actually lower the cost of capital for industry.
Mr. Turillo.
Ms. Waters, I would just say with respect to the study to which you alluded that it acknowledged that what it did was a kind of quick and dirty economic assessment because the authors of the survey and study didn't have access to all the data they'd need to give a more sophisticated response. What they basically did was to say, based on our survey, here's what we think the relative level of utilization of derivatives is, and we're going to multiply that by a margin requirement which we think might be imposed, and that gives us the cost of the
I'm sorry, so you're saying it was not a scientific study?
Well, they were not being misleading in the least. They basically just said, we're going on the basis of a survey and extrapolating. We don't really have the data. But I think, ma'am, the most important point to make is that they were assuming that there would be margin requirements applicable to all these end users surveyed. And what you've heard this morning is that that's not going to be the case.
And so can you tell us how effective regulation of the derivatives market can actually help to save jobs?
Well, yes, from our point of view, again, which is one of systemic risk and trying to contain systemic risk, I think the keys are always watching for leverage and transparency. And because in the absence of transparency, you have ineffectively operating markets, and as we can have runs during crisis periods. And in the presence of excessive leverage, you can have collapses of institutions and markets as well. So I think a well-honed, well-conceived regulatory system in the financial sector is one that is designed to allow the allocation of capital to its most productive uses.
So basically, all three of our witnesses at the table today really do believe that an effective regulation of the derivatives market can actually help to save jobs. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yes, yes,
Thank you.
although, of course, effective is what everybody is going to be discussing as we go through this regulatory.
Thank you very much. I yield back.